Len's Island fulfills the age-old fantasy of washing up on a desert island and creating a new life from scratch. The game entered early access in late 2021, and we recently received a review copy. I've never really been one for the whole survival genre. I usually find these games to be a bit too unforgiving, and I don't really have a mind for that type of strategy, so I ultimately wind up just not having fun because I'm too stressed out trying to maintain my thirst, hunger, body temperature, and everything else. Len's Island, on the other hand, was very welcoming to someone like me. While there are meters for health and stamina, I didn't need to go around regulating every single part of my life, and there weren't predators all around trying to take me out. Instead, I was free to traverse the island, gather resources, and start building my home. Resources you collect are automatically transported back to your base, and you can use a variety of tools to extract those resources. Rather than repeatedly clicking on a rock to break it down, the game rewards you for timing your clicks to a certain rhythm, which is dictated by this little circle that shows up in between clicks. It's a very simple mechanic, but it did a lot to keep me engaged in what would otherwise be a pretty mindless process. The game doesn't have much of an opening tutorial or any clear instructions that I could readily find, but there doesn't seem to be any huge penalties for running out of stamina. I get the feeling that I'm missing something, but whenever the bar is totally depleted, I don't really notice any direct effect on the gameplay. But just to be safe, I try to keep my health and stamina replenished by eating these berries that I find around the island, and then I go ahead and plant any excess berries I have so that I can grow more berries. I figured that out all by myself. Somewhat similar to Stardew Valley, the game also features cavernous dungeons full of mysterious and openly hostile creatures. At the time of making this video, I believe there's only one dungeon available in the game, but the dungeon offers unique resources that you can't find anywhere else on the island. When you Google Len's Island, you'll see that the game is described as a fast-paced, skill-driven dungeon crawler, with a focus on engaging a wide range of combat types and loadout combinations. While the rest of the game is actually very leisurely, the dungeon sections are a lot more intense, and you definitely are able to craft a wide variety of weapons. So far, I have a pretty humble little home built up, and I'm only just starting to get deeper into the dungeon. I see that there are a few different structures on the island that will likely eventually be inhabited by NPCs, and the devs have offered up a roadmap for the game that includes things like more islands and dungeons, more bosses, and business and fishing mechanics, along with a whole bunch of other features. So far, the reviews on Steam are very positive, and the most prominent negative reviews on the game's Steam page still have a lot of good things to say about the game. One of the most consistent complaints I've seen is the price point. For $25, the game doesn't offer all that much more content than what you might find in a lot of other free demos. That said, what is here is pretty good, even for someone who doesn't really identify with games like this. I think that some sort of shareware or demo version of the game could convert a lot more players into early access supporters, but regardless, there are still plenty of people out there enjoying the game so far. My biggest complaint about Len's Island is the fact that it doesn't really do enough to help guide new players through some of its basic mechanics. For instance, I built a garden plot, and then I built a well. The description on the well says that it's used as a water source for farming. I was able to interact with the well, but I couldn't find a way to get the water out of the bucket. It was only after browsing some forum posts that I found out that I needed to craft a workbench so that I could then craft a watering can. That all makes sense, but it's not intuitive. The game finds a way to magically transport large quantities of wood and rocks in and out of my backpack, so how would I know that there wasn't also some sort of magical process that allowed the water in the bucket to make its way onto my crops? The game is inconsistent. Sometimes it's very literal and realistic, and sometimes it isn't at all, which is fine for a game to do, but in my opinion, a game like that should do a bit more to let players know how certain mechanics work. I would have been saved a whole lot of time and frustration if the game just gave me a little pop-up window that said something like, "Congratulations on building your new garden plot. Be sure to craft a well and a watering can so you can water your crops. I also can't seem to find a way to pick up, move, or rotate any items once I've placed them in my home. I can recycle those items for a full refund on the resources that I used to build them, but sometimes I just want to move my bed over a little bit, and it's annoying to have to break it down and then craft it again. Maybe there is a mechanic that lets me pick up and move items, but the menu on this screen is sort of convoluted, and if that function does exist, it'd be nice for the game to make it a bit more obvious to me. Some games do benefit from just throwing the players into a complex system and letting them figure it out. Unraveling certain cryptic mechanics and processes can be a rewarding part of experiencing those games. But Len's Island isn't totally void of tutorials, it's just inconsistent on when it decides to offer them. Even this far into the game, I'm still not even sure if what I've been referring to as a stamina bar is actually a stamina bar, or what it even does. I was hoping to find some sort of instruction manual or a guide online, but I couldn't find anything that would just give me a basic glossary of what the different mechanics, objects, and systems are in the game. Maybe that'll change over time, and to be honest, I am excited to find out. The game appears to already have a dedicated community, and it's regularly receiving patches and updates. If you'd like to check out Len's Island, it's currently available on Steam. And if you want to check out more videos about video games, be sure to subscribe to Hidden Machine. We upload new stuff all week long and have a huge back catalog of reviews, discussions, skits, and a whole lot more. Thanks for watching. See ya!